have some technology that we don't have today, because we couldn't build the pyramids within the 20-year period. That's what I meant. Also, the megalithic, the stones that they find all over the earth, actually, to depict facing for the sunrise and to watch the constellation. Some of them are over 100 tons, 100,000 tons. And we can't, with our technology today, move these big stones. And there's an area where they actually look like Legos. They're cut so exactly intertwined with each other that you would need lasers and high technology that we don't even have today.
Yeah, with such great precision, we couldn't do it with today's technology. It just perfectly fit in place. To me, it's common knowledge that these monuments were left by the Anunnaki, and it tells you the whole story, through these tablets.
Because these Stone Age people, they had all to do to survive. They had all to do, to grow their crops or hunt, whatever. They may have had some, pagan gods and things like that to erect some statues and stuff, but they didn't. You would need a full-time plan with, millions of people working on this, and I think they said one brick per block per second would have had been posted, and these blocks are not even around where they built these things. And then getting back to the mountain where all the gold dust is, where it looks like, if you see from the sky, the landing strips, there's no place. Eric von Daniken, flew around there, and he's saying, there's no place where they put this mountain. Where did it go? It must have been the gold that they took to the other planets after, hit their planet after mining it for, over 100,000 years. So there's a lot that archaeologists and scientists and mathematicians now are coming together and rethinking this since the work of Zecharia Sitchin. And right now they're coming to make their solar return. The ones that are interfering with our governments and things like that really don't want to see us evolve. Now, remember last week about the consciousness. We have free will, so the benevolent Anunnakis, they're here, they're watching us, just like the angels. What we thought were the angels were guiding us and love, sending us love and light, but they cannot interfere. We have to ask them to help us when we understand what it is that's going on. Most of us don't know what's going on. I'm definitely now in tune to, in my prayers, talking directly to them. These were the gods of those days, and all our modern religions all stem from these ancient people, and even the fact of Moses and the flood and the virgin births. These are all very similar if you go back into ancient primitive pagan religions. We just copied it, and at the time, nobody had access to, not many people could read and had access to any books or stone tablets or all that. Didn't understand. They just knew they were sacred, and the priests that were the intermediaries between the Anunnakis, they were the only ones that had this sacred knowledge. And so when the Anunnakis left our planet, because they went to war and there was a big thing, so they left our planet, the ancient priests, what they did was they started worshiping pagan gods, and then it became to our modern gods today. But all the religions all around the world, all the myths all around the world, the basic, we thought the psyche was essentially the same all over the world. Why it is essentially the same is because we were engineered the same way all over the world. We were genetically created to be a worker race for our planet.
Right, and we're created, it says in the Bible, in Genesis, we were created in God's image. He created us in His own image. But our translation of God doesn't tell you, if you trace back to the Hebrew script, the true Bible, before it was watered down to, what it is today, it said the Anunnaki, or actually it said Elohim, which is another term for Anunnaki, from heaven to earth. So we were made in God's image, but little do you know, God was the Anunnaki, because of the translation of
Right.
our Bibles in today's
Right.
history.
And I still have tremendous faith, so I'm looking at a small God. The God is the universal intelligence, the higher intelligence of the consciousness, the collective consciousness, that awareness that we have, that I am, that I am. I believe that there is the higher intelligence. I'm not sure if it's such a personal God like we have with the Anunnaki. So when I say Anunnaki as the gods, they were depicted as the gods because they have technology. They came from the skies. These were primitive people. They had no idea when they came back and forth. They could do things that they didn't even know how to explain. But they put it in all their writings and all their art form. And even as far early as the Renaissance, you see in so many Renaissance paintings pictures of UFOs. I mean, the Madonna has a picture of the UFO in the background. There's a monastery, I think it's I forget where it is, but there's a monastery where they have frescoes, and you look up and there's all these halo figures with UFOs, and there's people looking up to them,
to the heavens.
And with awareness of it. Book of Enoch, the Ezekiel, they're all talking about these very personal gods and actually going back and forth to these other worlds and spending what seemed to be hundreds of years there and coming back, and it would only be seemed like a couple of days. That's the one thing. Our rotation is a 365 rotation around the sun. That's 1 year. For the planet that the Anunnakis come from, it's 3,600 years. That's considered
big
one
difference.
day. So there's a real big difference. When they come here, it's not going to seem like that, hundreds and thousands of years apart, or 3,600 years apart. It's just going to seem like a couple of years apart.
And you know what is also amazing? We mentioned they knew about DNA, and this is over 6,000 years ago from studying the Anunnaki and the workings of Zecharia Sitchin and uncovering this stuff. Is they also knew about the universe. They already knew about Uranus. They knew about this over 6,000 years ago. Modern science just discovered this in the last...
Right. 1930, they discovered Pluto, and we didn't even know what do you call it, the Renaissance area, that
Much after.
we were, we were not the center of the universe, that we revolve around the sun.
Right. And not just that, they also told you about Nibiru, which is Planet X, the 12th planet. And we did not know about this until just modern. Just recently, science is just discovering what the ancient Sumerians have been telling us in the Anunnaki for over 6,000 years ago. This is, to me, a reason beyond a shadow of a doubt to why we should pay attention to what these texts are really telling us.
And that seventh